Lately, I have found myself down in the pit of anxiety and catastrophic thinking once again. It was hard for me to sleep all night through. I woke up feeling tired, and I felt like I got distracted from living my life here and now, which has been my reliable anchor and beacon for such a long time. And I didn't like the feeling of losing this anchor, not at all. As currently I'm trying to live as frugally as I can, unfortunately I cannot afford any therapy, even online therapy, so I'm trying different self-therapy practices to see what works for me. And in today's video, I will take you on an experimental 4-day journey of expressive writing. I've talked about this practice before in one of the previous videos that I will link up there in case you haven't seen it, but this time I decided to make it a live experience and to share all the results and insights with you. I will also give you 10 most important tips on how to benefit from this practice and share what challenges to expect. Expressive writing is a specific technique for honestly and freely reflecting on a particular trauma, distressing event, or some current experiences, and it focuses on the feelings, not on the actual events like chronological order, people, or places, just your feelings, which distinguishes it from the traditional type of journaling. This practice is scientifically proven to improve the mental health considerably, to release stress and lower the anxiety levels, and also to increase resilience. The concept and the term were coined by Dr. James Pennebaker at the University of Texas at Austin. In the book Opening Up by Writing It Down, written by James Pennebaker together with Joshua Smith, the authors give the following prompt. Don't worry about grammar, spelling, or sentence structure. In your writing, I want you to discuss your deepest thoughts and feelings about the experience. You can write about anything you want, but whatever you choose, it should be something that has affected you very deeply. Ideally, it should be something you haven't talked about with others in detail. It is critical, however, that you let yourself go and touch those deepest emotions and thoughts that you have. So, what subject to choose for your expressive writing practice? It can be any traumatic event or any distressing experience from the past. It can be something from your present, something that you worry about that keeps you awake at night. Or it can be some event or emotion or anything that you are expecting to face in the future. I have a lot to write about, but to make it a cohesive 4-day practice, I decided to address my fears about the future, all my worries. I have a very deep unprocessed trauma and loss and grief inside, but I am not ready to face it right now because it's still too painful and I want to keep it down there for now. But the future is something that gives me hope and very, very dark despair at once. That's why I wanted to balance things out at least a little bit. My expectations from the practice were the following: to feel more confident, more collected, but at the same time looser about the future, to feel more trust in what is about to come or not to come, and also to let go of regrets in order to feel more stable in my present. On the first day, I was feeling a bit nervous, as it is said to be the toughest one, but surprisingly it went smoothly. I felt like something was waiting to pour out from me on paper, and I finally given it space. I wrote for 15 minutes straight, but read everything only on the second day, and it was very interesting, like having a deep conversation with yourself. What I noticed is that I don't write in a diary journaling manner. For me, it's better to go with sort of a poetic flow filled with sudden metaphors and occasional rhymes, flowy structure. Just because I didn't think how to write, my mind has chosen the best way for it to express itself with a lot of indefiniteness and uncertainty, which is how I feel about the future. And some practical things to explain. I didn't use any dedicated notebook. I just made this very fast handmade project. So it's 5 sheets of A4 paper sewn together with this little piece of scrap yarn, and I also wrote in my mother tongue, which is Russian, and I wore noise cancelling headphones for more focus and clarity. And before we move on to the second day of my experiment and all the insights that I got from it, I want to thank the sponsor of this part of the video, a beautiful app Aura that I've been using for about 2 years for now. This app has become a good companion in nurturing a calmer and more accepting attitude in the most stressful times, especially when some extra support and guidance is needed. Aura is an all-in-one app for well-being and sleep. It has thousands of meditations, stories, and so much more like CBT, life coaching, breathwork, and spirituality. The content is extremely varied and personalized, and it's created by hundreds of expert coaches and professional therapists around the world. Lately, I've been using the burnout section on Aura a lot as someone who gets tired and overwhelmed very fast. My favorite recent meditation is Tension Relief by Lauren Ziegler, a calming and soothing practice to decrease anxiety, fear, and doubt, secure more bandwidth and capacity for life, create the ability to relax no matter what is going on. I love that on Aura you can read reviews for every meditation from different people, and this creates a cozy and safe feeling of community. You feel like you're not alone with your own struggles. Aura is not only about audio, you get access to so many daily live sessions where you can also interact with others at the same time. Aura helps make doable steps towards a calmer and more grounded living. If you are ready to introduce some mindful changes into your everyday routines, I challenge you to try and do a mindfulness practice every single day for the next 30 days using Aura. Right now, you can get started for completely free on Aura's website using my special link in the description. Only the first 500 people will get free trial and exclusive 25% off. Thank you, Aura, for being a great friend of the channel and sponsoring this part of the video. On day 2, I already knew what to expect from myself, but still tried to let go of everything and continue with my chosen subject. And this time, what I managed to write down in 15 minutes was quite revealing. The thing is that the time limit and the necessity of almost incessant movement of your hand with a pen freeze the mind and let it float higher than usual. I've noticed some important points that I avoided thinking about. Fear of not meeting my own expectations, but then questioning whose expectations those really were, and then why I needed to live the way I do and what it gives me. Human mind is a beautiful thing when used properly, and I think once you let your thoughts float freely and expressively, you will be able to see yourself better. And I think that the second day was my favorite day of the practice. Day 3 was the shortest writing day. I felt numb in a way and decided not to force myself. I've expressed the challenging feelings and then I simply had nothing more to say. I wrote only a half of the page, and what I wrote was quite desperate. But this fact didn't upset me, because the process of healing yourself is not a linear one. It's not a smooth and even line, but a wavy mess oftentimes. The most important thing about every self-therapeutic practice is to be softer to yourself and as self-compassionate as you can, because in this situation you are your own listener, supporter, and your own parent. I didn't do the 4 days of expressive writing in a row. I had to take a break because, well, life happens. But I do think that it is important to try to stick to the consecutive line of 4 days to feel this experiment better. On the fourth and the last day, I felt like the writing process was more free and less stressful. I felt like myself, and after I read what I've written, all the 4 days shaped one and full picture of what I see, of what I envision, and where I should direct myself. It's a very powerful feeling of supporting your own self, and I can say for sure that all my expectations from this practice were met. And now the benefits of expressive writing that I have noticed, at least for myself. I had a chance of honest and unrestricted conversation with myself. I freed a lot of space in my head from self-talk. After each session, I felt much less noise and more clarity. I felt like I can go on, like I have everything that I need to go on. I have found out that what I thought I have lost through all these stressful events is still there and waits to be encountered and embraced again. As for the challenges, I have discovered two major challenges with expressive writing. The first one is that it can be pretty hard to focus on just one subject or topic that you have chosen for your practice. Sometimes you just need to free your mind from everything else, to stop wandering from one thing to another. But it is doable, and for me, I needed at least 3 or 4 minutes of writing to get to the subject. And the second challenge is that after the expressive writing session, it can be hard to get back to your everyday living, to stop the thought process, to stop feeling emotional. And this is where just a short meditation, an easy one, can help to bring you back to the present. And now, as I promised, the most important tips, 10 tips on how to make the expressive writing practice a good and insightful one for you personally. Do at least 4 days of expressive writing to see whether it's helping you. Be alone in quietness. Set the timer properly, but don't feel too tied to it. I recommend doing 15 minutes on the first day and then vary depending on how you feel. There should be no restrictions. Choose wisely what to write about. If the trauma is too painful, don't touch it for now. Don't stare at the blank page. Start with anything, even if it's just an exclamation mark. Use prompts if needed. Write freely with no rules, grammar, or style observations. Read what you've written and don't throw it away immediately. Wait until 4 days are done. Write quickly to increase spontaneity and stop inner criticism. Make sure that all your notes are kept private. So, would I recommend expressive writing for anyone? Yes, absolutely. If done properly and honestly, without restricting your thought process, the results are very transformative. But please keep in mind that it's not an easy journaling practice, but it's so much worth the effort and the potential struggle. Dr. James Pennebaker suggests that when we put our deeply emotional experiences into language, into words, it facilitates our brain's capacity to manage and process all those uneasy emotions. I want to taste and glory in each day and never be afraid to experience pain and never shut myself up in a numb core of non-feeling or stop questioning and criticizing life and take the easy way out, to learn and to think and live, to live and learn. This always with new insight, new understanding, and new love. Feel free to share your thoughts down below in the comment section. Maybe you have done anything like that, or you are now inspired to give this expressive writing practice a try. Let me know. Thank you so much for your time and attention, dear friends, and huge thanks to everyone who supports my work on Patreon and other tipping platforms, because thanks to you, I can create these videos that are free for everyone to see, and at the same time I can make both ends meet somehow for myself. And for now, as always, be safe and keep your heart open, and I will see you soon. Пока-пока.